News this morning about the FBI search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate coming months after the National Archives said that at least 15 boxes of White House records were recovered from Mar-a-Lago, including some that were classified. The National Archives is charged with collecting and sorting presidential material. Joining us now is Jason Barron. He is the former director of litigation at the National Archives and Records Administration. Jason, it's great to have you here and to get your perspective on this. Knowing what you know about this process, how do you get from that point, from boxes being retrieved from Mar-a-Lago to a search warrant being executed and documents being seized?
Well, the National Archives staff has tried to do the right thing. The presidential records of the Trump administration are not supposed to be at Mar-a-Lago. They are supposed to be under the legal custody of the Archivist of the United States as of January 20th, 2021. And so NARA staff contacted appropriate people of the former president, but somewhere along the lines, there's either been an impasse or some kind of incompleteness in the delivery or transfer back of materials. There should be no materials, whether they're classified or unclassified. There should be no presidential records sitting at Mar-a-Lago. They should be within the legal custody of the National Archives.
That's a period full stop when it comes to presidential records in general. Now, an FBI search warrant, executing a search warrant, though, is a separate matter for them. And one would think that there is a criminal aspect to it that might go just beyond the Presidential Records Act in this case. When you're talking about classified documents, what are the considerations there for the preservation, the protection of classified documents?
Well, presidential records, like all records of the federal government, if they are classified, for example, at the top secret level or above, they need to be stored under very strict conditions. There are places known as SCIFs, sensitive compartmented information facilities. And simply putting a padlock somewhere is not sufficient to meet federal requirements. So it is certainly the right thing for the FBI to have requested that any classified materials lying around at Mar-a-Lago be put somewhere more secure. But there's a more basic problem here, which is that classified materials should not be at Mar-a-Lago, period.
They shouldn't be at Mar-a-Lago, period. And yet there's been this considerable period of time in trying to retrieve them. What is the normal process for when documents, classified and otherwise, are mishandled, are taken somewhere where they should not be, not in accordance with the Presidential Records Act, or they're classified and they're supposed to be in a SCIF?
So there's nothing normal about this because there is no precedent for a former president taking classified materials from the White House to their personal residence or club. But there have been a number of instances in the past where both federal records and presidential materials have been stolen from the government and in the hands of private individuals. And so there has been law enforcement mechanisms, including search warrants, to find those materials and put them in their proper place. We have to realize that documents that are at the top secret level or above represent, if they get out, an exceptionally grave damage to the national security. That's in the definition of what top secret is. And so this is not a trivial matter to be having classified materials in one's residence.
Yeah, talk more about that, if you can, about why this is different than moving out of your house and packing the spoons in the wrong box and not being able to find them. This is not a matter of moving and mishandling stuff that you necessarily move with here.
Well, of course, the threshold point is that it's not your stuff. These records are not former President Trump's to move around or even to store in safe conditions. They are the American people's records. In fact, Today is the 48th anniversary of President Richard Nixon resigning from office. After Nixon left, Congress put together, they enacted the Presidential Records Act, which ensured that the American people have ownership of these records. They're stored at the National Archives. And so this really is uncharted waters for a large collection of documents, whether they're classified or not, being outside the control of the archivist.
Jason Barron, we appreciate your perspective on this. Very important. Thank you.
Thank you.